Hi, fellow traders. Well, we're off and running to a new week. This morning was a lot of fun. I mean, it really felt like I was in this picture. And, you know, a hurricane was coming. Things were spinning around. Felt like stuff was swishing around. My hands were getting numb. It was just a lot of stuff working on my sensory input. But I'm so glad that I have the ability to just slow things down and stay within myself. Had a good weekend, a good night's sleep. I came in this morning with all my faculties and I needed it. So we got a lot to cover, so we'll just get right on it. Roku, now this one was making some noise this morning, but I didn't short this because I would have had to short into this red to green line or green to red line. And I really wasn't happy with this. You know, because obviously I couldn't take it until we kind of broke through this. Here was a level of pre-market support. Here was another level of pre-market support. And then here's the main one right here, which is the green to red line from yesterday's close. So I could not short into this. If I was going to take it, I had to wait for it to get under this. But the only way at this point, I'd have been getting in too late. I felt I'd be chasing it down, even though it did make a good move. Now, if I had broken my rules today, I could have made money on this stock. I could have made money on Baidu, which we're going to look at as well. But both of these stocks, I would have had to break my rules to enter. And watching them take off was working me. You know, and I was sitting there crying like a baby because I couldn't take it because I'm sticking to my rules. And I miss a good trade. All right, but we'll take a look at that here in a second. But I had a lot of questions in the last couple of days about why Roku is trading the way it is. It doesn't really have any fresh catalyst. Why is it doing this? Well, it's trading in this channel. And swing traders typically trade this way. They will trade and they will buy at the bottom of a channel and they will sell at the top. Once the stock puts that in, they're going to do it. And they keep the volatility somewhat active in this. There's a ton of different swing trading strategies, a lot more than day trading strategies. This is just one of them. Now, I don't typically use this, but if I'm day trading a stock that may have questionable catalyst, I'm going to look to see if it's what the daily chart's looking like. And here, this would have been an ideal thing. I would have looked for this to sell down to the bottom of this channel. But it didn't. It opened, and it did start to sell a little bit. We dipped through and went red, but then we got immediately bought right back up. So that told me, hey, the bounce is in. Even though we've got downtrending here, that doesn't stop it from pushing up and hitting a level of resistance and then coming back down. So I'm thinking that we're going to be in this channel and we're probably going to trade in it. Roku may bounce and go long tomorrow. The only thing that will stop me is look at the moving averages that it has to bounce through. So I would have to get in with enough room to take profit here because the 9 and the 90 and the 20 are right on top of each other. So if I took this long tomorrow, this is what I would be looking for or looking at. But I just wanted to answer that question. This is my humble opinion. You know, like I've always said, you don't know what's making the market move. There could be news that people put out, and you could assume that everybody's thinking the same thing you're thinking, and that's why the stock's moving. It may not be true. It may be true, but it may not. You don't know unless you know what's in the minds of those that are buying the stock or selling it. So, but just based on everything, this is just my humble opinion. It's not law, but it's something that I see, and I know that there's swing traders that do trade this setup. All right, so let's look at BYND. This is the one that I missed. All right, I flat missed this opening range breakout, and this was the money maker today. We had all kind of money making stocks just right there in our face, and this is why I felt like I was in the vortex. Things were just swirling around, and while I'm sitting here crying about not taking a stock that did not fit within the parameter of my rules, I missed one that did. I missed taking this trade, and this would have been a very, very lucrative trade. Now, I did burn up one of my day trades in my swing account, my TD account, taking this later. I took it somewhere over here because I'm like, somebody was asking me, can you scale out? And does it cost you day trades if you scale out and all that stuff? So I'm like, this may be a perfect opportunity to scale out. And it was. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But the point I want to bring out here is that I missed the trade. I missed my go-to setup because I'm crying about two stocks that I just can't trade, that I couldn't trade, and that I would have had to break my rules in order to trade it. And I just didn't want to do that. All right, so BIDU, this was the other one that I could not trade because I would have been shorting in the red to green or green to red. I'd have been shorting into the 200. I couldn't do it. So the only thing I could do is wait for it to sell off, bounce, and short the rejection. Well, a lot of times this happens and you kind of feel like you got taken out of the trade because you get the rejection and you got a big sell-off candle and there's no way I'm going to get in and then try to risk all the way up here and with the size you want. So it's just one of those frustrating things. But I waited until we broke the low of this candle because this is the first candle that closed below the 200. The way the rejection works, we would have to reclaim this 200. The only way to do it is not to trade below it, but for a candle to close below it, and then the next candle make a lower low, and then I can take it. And that was the idea on this thing. We made this candle, didn't make a lower low relative to this candle, but this candle did. Once this opened and it made a lower low, I jumped on it. I was looking for the full move down to 141.74. But we got down here to 142. It started, you could see the support building in. You could see it coming in. And we were talking about it in chat. And that's why I feel I don't like my chat room to be looked at as a place where you can get trade ideas. And that's not what the purpose of it is. The purpose of it is for you to learn how to trade. Learn how to see things. And that's what we were looking at here. As to, okay, we had a plan. Here was the first target. We had a stop put in based on the volatility. We looked at that. So we all knew we had to stop. We had our profit target. But why did I take it off here? Here, we made a slightly higher low. And then we made a higher high on this. And to me, looking at the price action, looking at all the support building in, every time we came close to 142 or dipped below it, it got aggressively bought back up. And so once it had enough buying to where it broke the high of this, I was done. So we locked in a couple of dollars on it. It wasn't what I could have made if I would have just jumped in over here. But it was about being disciplined, waiting for the right setup, and then taking the trade. This is the type trading that's going to make you consistent. Now, you can be that type person that just wants to chase these home run trades, or these big trades, and just jump in. The problem is at the end of the month, all you're going to do is have all you're going to have is the satisfaction of having a big trade. But then you're going to have watched all of that money bleed out of your account because you're trying to do something that's very risky and it only works every now and then. Now, hell, you might get lucky and end the month green. The market may be so good, and it may be a lot of them that you end the month green. That's how my 2015 was. I made a ton of mistakes, but because the market was so good, hell, it didn't matter. The market's not like that anymore. So you make it, it won't have mistakes like it used to. So that was one of the most important lessons that we learned this morning. Look, even though the stock works, if it doesn't fit your parameters, that's fine. Wait for your market to come to you. If it doesn't come to you that day, wait for tomorrow or the next day, but be patient. Don't get caught in this cycle where you break your rules just to make a winning trade, and then you get in the habit of breaking rules and you never become consistent. You don't want to see that. So that was that trade. Then we had one more that we were watching. FIVE sold off hard, and I didn't think it would go lower, and it didn't. But again, I wasn't going to buy into all of this. It was just trading sideways kind of for a long time. We popped up, pulled back, just kind of hanging around this VWAP, just sticking to it. And here we popped over the 9, and then the 20. I didn't want to trade it in through all of this. I just didn't. So I waited until we consolidated here, and you see the 9 and the 20, everything was just coming up. You could see the momentum building in. And this is another one that we were talking about in chat. If you were there, you heard what I was looking at, what I was talking about, what we needed to see in order to take this trade. And we got everything that we were looking for. And so you guys saw me take it. I was able to take profit here, or I don't know if it hit it before I left or not. But I left after I got in the trade because I wanted you guys to, I wanted to try to stay as long as I could so that you guys can see me enter the trade and you can see what I was looking for and all of that stuff. And it hit my first target, my second target up here, which was the 50. And it pulled back and it looked like we were going to break the 50. But look at this. This candle closed above the 50. This candle opened above it, but guess what? Never made a new high. We never claimed the 50. Even though we traded above it, we never claimed it. And we couldn't make it to this next level. This was where my last target was up here. Then finally, it tried a little bit, and then just finally gave up. And I closed it out. Practically at break even here. So that was that. But a really nice start to the week. 448.87. That's not bad. Trading small share size. BIDU, we went in 200 shares. FIVE, we went in 300. We had the buying power for that. And you take advantage of what you can take advantage of. Now, yeah, had I traded BYND, probably would have made $1,000 today. But It is what it is. Still ended the day strong, stuck to my rules, did not get out of hand, and brought it home. So I'm not pissed off about today as far as day trading. All right, so let's take a look at the swings that we had on watch from yesterday. Now, the ideal scenario on this was it gapping up, opening above the 20 EMA. That was the ideal thing. So we bounced off the 20 SMA, or bounced off the 20 EMA, and I wanted to get in just above the SMA. I didn't want to buy into the 20 SMA. Even though I don't use it, that's what the scan is based off of. FinViz does not have the EMA, it has the SMA. So that's what I use for the scan. Still have to respect it. And it opened, triggered an entry. Again, before I can click the button and put my order in, this thing washes out. I mean, the bottom falls out up under it. It drops below the previous day's close in no time at all. So I couldn't get in. Even though it triggered an entry, I couldn't get in it because it was selling, and I'm not going to buy a stock that's selling off. So I thought maybe it's taking profit. Let me look back in about 5 or 10 minutes, see what it's doing. It was just a no-go. So this thing set up, it triggered, but for some reason, the bottom fell out of it. I don't know. And this may be them catching people. It may be them catching guys off guard. And it may turn around and set up tomorrow and give us a good entry. I'll be watching this again tomorrow. We'll see. But was a big fake. And thankfully, it didn't give us enough time to go crazy, get messed up in it. SIX, this was the oversold watch I was looking at. We had a big gap down and sell-off day. Here we started to slow down. I was honestly looking for a nice sell day to make new lows. And then maybe tomorrow getting a candle like this so that Thursday we could get in, have a strong day Thursday and Friday, and kind of see where we're at. But it gave us the candle I would like to see on the third or fourth day, on the second day. So I don't really know how to take this, but I will be watching it again tomorrow. We'll do the scan tonight, and I'll email you guys if I see anything else that I can put on watch. But other than that, we're going to leave SIX alone. Now, BBBY, this one was another one on our watch. This opened 1 cent below Friday's close. 1 cent below. And then it sold off a little bit. And first part of the morning, it was kind of below Friday's close. But then it came back strong. And it finished strong. And you can see, had it triggered an entry, we would be in this trade. But 1 cent below, again, I had to stick to my rules. And, just not take any unnecessary chances. I am really trying to focus on that. I don't care. It's my job to focus on my trading and to make sure that I am the best trader that I can be. That's the best teacher. The worst teacher is for me sitting there, breaking rules, doing things that I'm not supposed to do just because I want to look good or I want people to think I'm all that. That's not what this is about. This is, I was looking at my family this weekend. I'm like, look, I don't ever want to not be able to do this. I know how it felt 5-6 years ago not to be able to, take my family off for the weekend when they said, hey, this is the last weekend. My daughter had to go back to school. My wife had to go back to school. They wanted the one last hoorah. And I remember 5-6 years ago, I couldn't do this stuff. But now I can. I don't ever not want to do that. The only way to ensure that is to make sure my trading stays tight. And that's the focus. And that's what I want you guys to learn from. Not breaking rules, sticking to what you have to do. And if you do break rules, how do you need to handle it? How do you need to not fall into that trap of continuing to break rules? Just make sure you understand. Do you want to just have these big trades here and there and end the month either break even or red, or do you want to consistently put money in your account and grow it and then start spending some of it, enjoying doing the things that you want to do? That's the choice that you have. All right, so I'm going to show you. This is the FinViz picture, and this is the level, the resistance, the ascending resistance that we were looking at. And this may be a reason why we didn't open above, but we got above it. And again, I think this can run to 100. I really do. The problem is, are they going to report their holiday sales numbers? If they don't report it, I think the numbers are bad, and this is probably going to pull in on earnings. I think they're going to play games. I think they're going to artificially inflate this, get people happy before they give them the bad news. But I explained yesterday, I was out of town. I couldn't record the sessions that we have on Sunday mornings. But one of the things that I said, I went in Best Buy a couple of times during the holidays. They had way too much inventory in their store, which to me, or tells me that their numbers just aren't that good. They didn't sell enough equipment. And that's my take on it. But you can see we have gapped up, or we've traded over this. We closed strong today. So I don't see why we can't continue to push. I really don't. I mean, I know we're kind of in the oversold territory. I mean, overbought territory. I think this thing can run to 90 or better. I really do. We're just starting to get the cross here. Just starting to get the cross. The MACD, the momentum, it doesn't look like it slowed down too much. So I think this has potential. That's why I'm going to keep my eye on it tomorrow. My main watch is still AXSM. I still think that's going to give me the best bang if it sets up. Now, if it doesn't and it continues to sell, it's not going to happen, and I'm going to have to move to one of these other two, or if I find a new one on my scan, we'll talk about that one in the morning. All right, so this is, and like I said, I was telling you, I burned a day trade on BYND. And really, I wanted to see, can you scale out and not get hit with an additional day trade? You don't. So I was able to hit it, and I scaled out. I probably, and I felt like, because we had got the 115.50-ish over here, I felt like just hold it a little bit after the market closes see how far it could get. And I could have picked up, what, $2 more, or $2.50 more cents. On 100 shares, that's an extra $250 on this deal. But, you know, I burned the day trade, and I think it was worth it. On stocks like this, when you have one that's really volatile and has a huge window up, huge potential, and you don't have a swing trade going, I don't see why you can't burn one to make some decent money. But you can't do it just for the hell of it. I think the last one a couple of weeks ago was RAD when it was making its run up. You know, we burned the day trade on that, when really should have hung on to it and caught the next day. So this thing might run up to 120 plus tomorrow, but I can't burn any more day trades. And I've got to focus on one of these swing trades. If it doesn't hit, then we just walk away from it. Because like I said, you want to save your day trades just in case you get in a trade and it starts to go the other way. Just like if we had got in AXSM this morning, I would have had to use that day trade to get out. And you don't want to be stuck with no day trades and not being able to take your trade off. You don't want to do that. You always want to make sure you have that ability to get out if you need to. Because if I'd have got in and then I couldn't get out, if I got in at 90, let's say 92, and I couldn't stop out, look how I'd be down almost 5 points, and it wouldn't be nice. All right, so that's that. I know it was a lot for a Monday. It was a really, really whirlwind of a day, but that was my day. We'll come back and we'll see what we have going on tomorrow. So you guys take care, and I'll see you in the morning.